episode.
Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in again this week. Today I'm joined with my own coach and Mallow man, Tadgh Carroll. Tadgh, how's it going?
I'm good, Donna. Thanks for having me on this podcast. I appreciate the mention.
There's no panic at all. Come here, you're obviously a good man to have. You're well known in the crossfit world, and as far as I can tell, you're well known in the handball world as well. So the idea is just want to get your opinion on a couple of things and find out your story. Everyone has a story. Exactly. Everyone has a story, you know what I mean? I feel like I have no story, but I spoke about it in episode 1 and people really enjoyed it. So, and other people are far more interesting than I am now, so that's why I'm getting you on board.
I don't know, you have a good story first, I'll give you a bit of background. So, I guess with sports, really, I kind of just played handball from a young age. It was probably the first sport I kind of played. I was about 7. Always kind of stuck with it. And then I guess when I went to primary school, I kind of played a bit of rugby. So it was just rugby and handball then when I was growing up. And then I'd say I kind of left rugby then about 18. I got a severe injury. I kind of damaged my collarbone, and it kind of affected me in my handball. So it was kind of the first time, at that stage of my life where I'm like, I have to give up something to focus on another thing. So I guess I gave up the rugby then when I was 18 to kind of focus on the handball. It was kind of making it from the juvenile to the senior grade and trying to focus on that. And I guess kind of knowing from a young age, I knew I was never going to be like a senior Iron champion. But my main goal was to win the intermediate, and I guess I accomplished that. I'd say back in 2017 now, I won the All-Ireland intermediate, and the pinnacle of my career. I'd say, I kind of know my limitations. I kind of know where, I could have reached, and I kind of physically, I couldn't really win a senior, so I kind of backed off the handball after that, really.
Yeah, tell me.
Background in the handball anyway.
Well, handball.
Into the CrossFit.
Yeah, handball wouldn't really be a mainstream sport, in Kentucky here. I suppose our closest would be to the Carroll. So, how did you get into it? Did your father get you into it, or was it just something you played, enjoyed, and said you'd go at it?
It was funny enough. I was in primary school, and some guy just came in and said he was coaching handball, and our school was literally 5 meters away. So I said I'd go after school. I'd attend one time when I went once, and at that age there was about 12 of us there. So it was kind of good to have, all our friends playing and stuff like that. And I guess throughout the years then people kind of dropped off, and there was kind of a main group of 5 of us, but we were still kind of close friends. And I guess the handball community is kind of a close community like CrossFit. It's kind of, everyone kind of knows each other, everyone's kind of welcoming and stuff like that. So it's kind of, that's the main thing why I kind of stuck with handball, because the community aspect. 5 of my best friends played till I was just about 2 years ago, and they kind of made their decision to play football, or they were traveling to Canada and stuff like that. So I'm kind of just me left by myself now in the younger generation, so just kind of coaching now, made in the handball. But as you said, original point, just some guy came into school one day and I just joined up and I played ever since, really. That was it, just a freak accident.
And obviously, were you kind of naturally good at it? Or,
from a young age, I guess. In the club, it was kind of good enough, but when you go out under 14 and you're playing Munster, I kind of remember playing these 2 Limerick lads, and we got an awful beating. And then the next year, under 15s, we played 2 Clare lads, and we got another awful beating. So I guess from a young age, I thought I was never that good, especially underage. But then when you grow up, you find out that they're all senior levels now. They're all senior players now. So I had a tough age growing up, and I guess from a young age, I didn't think I was that good. But once I kind of got older, you kind of get more belief, and I was kind of winning more matches and getting to All-Irelands and stuff like that. So it's kind of a difficult question to answer, because at a young age I was getting beat pretty bad by top players, in early rounds.
Yes, I understand. In relation to handball being is it a big sport nationally? Do you know what I mean? Or is it selected areas? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. As you said, just selective areas like Mallow there, maybe small parts of Fermoy. I guess the facilities aren't there nationwide, so it's kind of hard to. It's kind of like if there's pocket areas and small communities have big handball followings, but I guess the big areas like the cities, Cork City, places like that don't. So it's kind of just selected areas, you know. So I guess nationwide isn't that big, especially compared to other GA sports like curling or football. It wouldn't be nowhere near as big.
Yes, I understand, yeah. Because every town has a GA club, you know what I mean? But, like, I'd say Liscar is probably the closest here for handball.
Oh, yeah. So Liscar would be the closest to Turk, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a good facility now. They've done up their court, and, you know, they've got a big grant and, you know, put a good bit of money into it. So hopefully that kind of takes off. But it's a small area, so it'd be hard to get the numbers in right.
And would you then have your brother Killian would he be very good at it? Would you have introduced him to it then?
Yeah, so I guess from a young age, I guess Killian, yeah, I'd say maybe he joined me when he was 7, and then I guess he kind of took over from me when he was about 16 and I was 18, and he was kind of beating me, and that was I wouldn't say low, you know, kind of devastating, but I guess at the start you're losing to your younger brother and stuff like that, so it's not good on the confidence, but same kind of thing as underage. He went on to be world champion and stuff like that, so I mean you can't really take it too bad when you become world champion. He's number 1 in the world for maybe 3 to 5 years now, so I mean looking back at it now it doesn't seem too bad, but at the time it was
disappointing.
Disappointing, yeah. You kind of like, but then again, if you look at it as well, we were still training the exact same, and he was just more kind of naturally athletic than me. So it kind of gives you a bit of self-awareness of, you know, genetic potential and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
even though
what was I going to say? Would your
more athletic than me.
Yeah, your physique wouldn't really suit a nimble handball player, no? Would it? Like 6 foot? What are you? 6'3", nearly 150 kilo. Like.
Yeah, so I'm 6'2", weighing about 98 kg at the moment. And
that's not small, no. Like in fairness,
I'm the tallest in my family by a good bit, and he's about 5 more the ideal height for handball. You know, lower center of gravity. You kind of once you get to your better feet working, you better midline control as well, which are big things in handball. The more stable you are in your midline, the more power you can transfer through the body and stuff like that. Like, I'm not making excuses now as well, like, but you know, he was naturally more fitter than me as well, and
yes, I understand.
You know, a prime example was, I guess we were doing the best example really was a CrossFit workout. We were doing, I don't remember, like 18, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3 of thrusters and burpees over the bar. And I'd say my brother was doing CrossFit twice a week. And I think it might have been 2017 as well. I might have been armed or something. But I remember Killian came in and did the workout, and I'd say he beat my time by 2 minutes. And the man wasn't doing that much CrossFit, like, you know. So.
Anyway.
But it's good learning curve.
Definitely. Yeah. We'll dive more back into you. When did you realise that sports and coaching and was going to be a career for you? Because you went over studying in England. What was it, sports science or something like that?
So I went over to England in 2010, St. Mary's University in Twickenham. I studied sports science and nutrition. And I guess I just went over there to guys because I enjoyed sports and I joined, you know, I kind of enjoyed behind the sports, like what makes a good athlete and what attributes you need to be at a certain level. And I guess when I went to college then, I kind of fell in love with physiology and focused more on advanced human physiology in college. And then I kind of realised I wanted to go into coaching. When I came home, so I got a job coaching at a CrossFit gym. So I was doing CrossFit over in England and before I went back over. So it kind of just translated easily when I came home. So I guess when I went to college then I kind of fell more in love with the coaching, even though that wasn't my initial plan.
What was your initial plan, do you want me asking?
Just to go over, kind of be a bit selfish and learn all the traits for myself, you know, kind of get how do I become better and stuff like that. And then when I went over there, you get to see like world-class athletes. So Mo Farah was over there. Usain Bolt used to train there when he was in England and stuff like that. So you kind of see like the superstars and you hear professors talking about when they see an exceptional athlete and stuff like that, it kind of blows you away really and puts everything in perspective of, you know, the one percenters in the sport. You know, yeah.
I mean,
a lot of careers die over there. Like.
Yeah, I'd say so. And tell me, how did you first get introduced to CrossFit, which is more or less become your career now?
Perfect. I guess, funny enough, I was in the Hy-Vee Fitness in Mallow, and I reckon it was the only gym in Mallow at the time. So I'm 30, so 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I was 18, maybe 17, and me, Fionn O'Shea, he plays with Mournabbey, midfield for Mournabbey. So me, Fionn, I guess, and another lad, Warren McCarthy, we used to go to the gym, we used to do these workouts against each other, but they were CrossFit workouts. I think we were getting them from CrossFit.com at the time. I mean, 2008, it was early days and stuff like that, so we were just going head to head with each other in the gym. And then CrossFit Mallow opened up. I joined there for maybe 2 years before I went back to England. I went to college, maybe a year and a half, and I kind of fell in love with it. And I guess it was early days, so kind of early days, did a few competitions, won a few competitions in 2008, 2009. Like CrossFit Mania or CrossFit Mallow Mania 1 or something like, so all the first ones, which are ages ago now. And ever since then, really, I've been doing it.
So, like, what made you fall in love with it? Was it just a variety of movements, like?
It's a combination of things, really. I guess there was that competitive edge. You know, when you go head to head with a few people, you kind of push a bit harder, which is good. But there's also like learning new skills, like handstand push-ups, bar muscle-ups, ring muscle-ups, you know, gymnastics, stuff like that, where you wouldn't usually do in a gym.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I fell in love with as well. I remember first class.
I kind of found that kind of learning new skills. Exactly.
Yeah, first class I was doing rope climbs, and I was like, this is unreal.
Like, in a typical gym, doing like, you know, 3 sets of 8 bench press, then tricep dips and stuff like that. You know, so it was kind of good to get a change as well. That's how I kind of fell in love with it. Yeah, it's different.
Your kind of graduation, like, you are a phenomenal athlete now, but you've kind of more taken up a coaching role. Was that a natural progression, or did you go chasing the coach? Or did you kind of put yourself out there to become a coach, more so than an athlete?
I guess maybe, was it 3-4 years ago, I kind of started my own programming. I wouldn't say I fell out of love with the whole CrossFit I didn't fall in love with it. I didn't really understand the going in, doing a random workout, and then me trying to compete, where I need to be working on my weaknesses, and, you know, I'm not good at roll climbs, or I'm not good at pistols, and I can work on them instead of doing workouts with double unders, where you're kind of efficient at and stuff. So I kind of just started doing my own kind of thing. I might still do the workout with the class twice a week and stuff, but I do my own thing by myself in the corner, and then I guess people were asking me to write them a program, and the more competitive people, then I kind of started writing one program, then it turned into 2, and it kind of grew from there naturally.
Yeah, you see, that's what I suppose that's natural progression. Even my own story, how you go over, you do a class, and then you fall in love with the classes, but you almost realise that you're not actually progressing. You're not getting the movements. You know, you're keeping pull-ups and improving, or you have a weakness that you want to focus on. So I actually remember I approached years ago as well. I was struggling with learning all the movements, not just one movement. No, let's be honest. And that's where I got my first kind of program. And you know, it was really, you were the first person to introduce me to CrossFit, you know, and I fell in love with the class, but I fell in love with how progression is what I say is addictive, you know. So if you go in 1 week, you do a workout in 12 minutes, then you do it 3 weeks later and you do it in 11 minutes, 50 seconds. See, that's an improvement in progression. See, that's progression, and progression is addictive, as I always say.
Yeah, I think across it, that's kind of where I think if you go in, there's 2 kind of people. There's kind of like the people people that want to get fit and just do the randomized training, which is good as well. People need that, and it kind of keeps it fresh and not boring, I guess, for people, which is good. And then there's people who take it more seriously, where you kind of need progressions and need to work in the linear, like, you know, you taper off certain parts and you just need to be working on certain things. And I think it's like layering the intensity. You see some people in group classes, they do stuff too fast and they want to be top of the class and they want to win and stuff like that. Where if they slow down and work on a certain part, they benefit a lot more in the long run. Just working on one thing in the workout instead of like blitzing through maybe, I wouldn't say half repping, but you know, not doing the reps to, you know, fully or properly or stuff like that. And they're kind of, you know, as in that's okay for people who want to do it.
Yeah, they're more worried about their score rather than how they're moving. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's okay for people who want to do it as just a bit of fun. But if you're competing, I think you really have to take a step back, need your ego, get battered a bit, do the stuff you're not good at. Like, sometimes training isn't that enjoyable because you're doing stuff, like, not this stuff again. And you basically have to suck it up, and do the stuff you don't like.
Yeah, that's a good lead in on to the question I wanted to ask you. Is it, I know you do your own programming, but do you think it's most beneficial to do your own, to coach yourself? Because what I noticed, and when I got on board with you, I did most of my programming for a long time, for years, training out of my home gym at home. What I found is you're biased. Even if you don't want to be, you are biased. You know, you'll always subconsciously choose stuff that you enjoy doing or that you know you're good at. But in relation to yourself, because do you do your own programming, or do you find that an issue, like, or are you good? Are you hard on yourself?
I'm kind of good to do stuff like I would never practice double. I would never do workout with double unders because I just don't see the benefit of doing double unders unless it comes up to the open. Right, I might throw them in once or twice a week because I'm efficient at them. But it'd be more like ladder and box jumps, stuff that I'm not good at. And how I would program that is I start with maybe an EMOM, like 10 minutes, pick a rep range that's easy, comfortable, and then build it every week then until I get more efficient at it. And then just throw it into maybe intervals, and then I would throw it into a workout when I become more efficient at it. So you're kind of layering on the intensity as you go along. So, but like, it would be stuff that I'm not good at is what I program for myself. And sometimes it's not enjoyable, but it's kind of the only way you're going to get better.
And tell me, how'd you be realistic with yourself? You know what I mean? Because that's where I'd say a lot of people listening will have this issue as well, is focusing on their weaknesses. But how do you actually, can you identify weakness, like, yourself? Or do you need, that's why I think a second pair of eyes is vital.
I guess, it depends who you compare yourself with, really. Because it's only a weakness if you compare yourself to someone who's better than you. If you're comparing yourself to someone that you're better than, it's not really a weakness. So we just say for CrossFit, if you see top Irish lads clean and jerking 160, then you know your clean and jerk is a weakness because it's not like a 90 or 85% of their 1 rep max. Or, you know, you do Fran in 4 minutes, you know that's a weakness, thrusters and pull-ups. So it's kind of like someone clean and jerking 120 kg it's clearly not a weakness to the general population, and it depends where you want to be as well. So if you want to be like a top Irish level competitor, or do you want to be a regionals level, or do you want to be games athlete, I guess your weaknesses will differ between the three of them stages as well.
Yes, but how do you narrow down, as like, for people that just don't even look at CrossFit, but for people that are involved in other sports? But how do you narrow in on a weakness? Like, have you advised to identify weakness?
Oh, can you identify weakness? I guess the main thing really is, if we're talking about like a movement, if you watch a video, you can see what's going wrong with the movement. Like, or if you look at someone and you just watch them in a class, you can identify what they're bad at, and you just need to fix a certain thing. Like, I know it's a very general thing to say, but we'll just say a snatch or something. It could be something like a burpee. They're coming up when they come up on their 2 feet, they're coming up on their toes, they're not coming up on their heels, so they need to fix that as well. You know?
Okay, I get you.
So you can have a weakness in a burpee where someone thinks they're unreal at burpees, but they're inefficient because they're coming up on their toes each time, they're not coming up on their heels. So it could be something very simple, or it could be more complex, like a snatch, a jerk. Like a lot of people have weakness with jerks because they prefer push pressing, especially in CrossFit. You know, so people are really weak jerks, but really good push jerks or push presses. You know, their numbers should be 40 kg of a difference, but you see in CrossFit they're very similar. They're about 10 kg of a difference or 20 kg. So it's just a technique issue. So, I guess really the thing with CrossFit is that people need to be a bit realistic with themselves. Like, I have to talk to a few people about their goals and, you know, what they need to achieve, and they might have to step back their goals. And this could be one or two things. It could just be, you know, they're not putting the effort. Like, some people make excuses on a daily basis, and you kind of tell them, like, all right, this needs to be fixed if you want to get here. You can't at this piece of training slip if you want to do well in the open. And then some other people, you know, text me and they want to do more stuff. You know, it's like, I need to do more. This isn't enough. You know, so it could be, a weakness could be mental or physical. It could be someone just pulling out of a workout. But, like, you know, if it's once a month, something like that, it's grand. But if it's 3 times a week, you know, that's not gonna slide now, especially how competitive CrossFit is in Ireland. It's gone up like a load in the last 2 or 3 years, especially in the men's field.
In relation to, like, you do my programming, and one thing I always struggle with is managing my expectations. You know, what I always struggle with is you program a workout, and I'd say I'd have a goal in my head. I'd expect to get 7 rounds in that, you know, and then you're doing the workout and you realise you're bollocks after 4, and you only manage 5.5 rounds. You see, all of a sudden in that workout in my head was a waste of time. Now, this could be in other sports. Maybe a person wants to run a 5K in 22 minutes, and then they go and run the 5K, and they get 24 minutes, and then their head is gone. But have you any advice? Have you any advice? Have you any advice in dealing with, like, or how would you manage those expectations? Because I find that's a big issue with, you know, athletes, and not just CrossFit, every other sport. Like, the expectation to play well, and when it doesn't go well, then it's like the world has ended.
Yeah, perfect. If you were to a 5K, it'd probably be better for kind of the general population. But say if someone wants to do a 5K in 22 minutes and they come in and it's 25 minutes, right? So what you could look at that. So the first thing you need to do, right, is write down. So you say workout 7 rounds. Let's say 25 minutes. You write down 25 minutes or 7 rounds on a piece of paper. You go back, you look at your watch, you look at the rounds. So you go round 1 or 1K for 4:20, and the first round a minute 10, right? And then the second is the same, second round is the same, and then there's a massive drop off between round 3, 4, and 5. You know, your 5-minute kilometers or your 3-minute rounds.
Yes.
So then you can analyze that workout and say, well, obviously, I went past my threshold. I was going, like, it's like when you do a 5K, right? And say someone has a 20-minute 5K and they want to hit a 19-minute 5K and they come back as 22 minutes because the first 2K, they're going out too fast. They're going over that threshold. They're not getting enough oxygen into their body. So the body's like getting all this anaerobic threshold, all this lactic acid. It's the same in CrossFit workouts. You're getting all this lactic acid in the body. There's not enough oxygen going there, and you're going to burn out of that sooner than you are. So you have to, like, as you said, you did 4 rounds. All right, so it could be that, or it could be just one movement that held you back in that workout. So you're like, I need to fix this movement. I felt the chest bars will hold you back in this workout. I need to, like, 10 was too much. I think 7 would have been more manageable. Like, I wouldn't have gone into that red zone. And then you can attack us from there, and then you can just build up to an 8 next week, and 9, and the body will get used to it and adapt, and you'll get past that. Because it's good to get a kick in the hole the odd time as well. But you have to take notes from why you failed and how you can get better, or else you're just going to stay in a rut, you know.
just say you take a challenge game in hurling, and you go out. You're in the dressing room. You're laid back. You're relaxed. You go out and you play the team. You play that team and you score 4 points in play. No problem, right? You come back the next week, and then that game is the first round of the championship. Nothing has changed, but in your head everything has changed. You're nervous. You'll be out. And then you're struggling, you're jittery on the ball, your first touch is all over the place. Technically nothing has changed, right? But everything is different in your head, and you're attacking the workout different. Like, have you any advice in dealing with that? Because that's a big issue for me. Like, before, dealing with that anxiety.
Well, actually, is I'm doing an online sports psychology course at the moment with Sienna. She lives in Texas. She's footballer, handballer, originally from Galway, and we were talking about this last week. Some people just they handle moments or events differently, and you have to build in kind of a routine to deal with that. So we say we're talking about a championship, and you score 4 points when you're relaxed and calm. So obviously, you being relaxed and calm is, that gets the best out of your performance. So you have to be relaxed and calm going into the championship game. You shouldn't change anything going into the championship game than you would a friendly game. But if you go into a championship game every time, revved up to go, ready to go, and you're kind of jittery and nervous, then you kind of have to she's talking about breathing techniques and stuff like that to get your heart rate back down. Focus in the moment. Don't think about the external factors or the external factors. Think about the internal factors, what you can control and stuff like that. So it's just like what works for you might work for someone else. So obviously for you, it's being calm, laid back. Is your best approach. So I would say be calm and laid back going into a championship game as well. I know that's easier said than done.
That sounds very easy, Tadgh. Yeah, sounds very easy.
Yeah.
But but it's true. I understand totally where you're coming from.
Because I've done the same. I remember I went up to Belfast at a handball match, and I was 2016, and I went all the way to Belfast. We were playing a senior competition. It was my first senior competition. I already played my opponent. I already beat him, I'd say, in a tournament 6 weeks ago. But it was my first senior match. As a senior player, whatever, and I was extremely nervous. And I went for every ball. 2 points into the game, I'd say it was after 20 minutes. I went for a ball on the left hand wall, scooped it, got the ball back, lost the rally, and couldn't close my fist. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I couldn't close my hands, took off my glove, it dislocated my big finger. My top part of my finger was on top of my bottom part of my finger, my middle finger. I couldn't close my fist. And that was only down to nerves. Going for every ball, being stupid, being revved up to play the match. Where if I was calm and collective, I already beat him 4 weeks ago at Tadghs score. But it was just the moment, and I went to A&E, played 2 matches, went to Belfast, 3.5 hours up, 3.5 hours down, played 20 minutes handball.
And what did you learn from it? How did you approach that, your next senior game? Did you do anything different there straight away, or did it take a couple of games to realise, right, I have to make a change here?
No, it took a couple of games. I guess when I was intermediate, it was kind of more laid back, and when you're expected to win a game, you're kind of more laid back. When you're kind of up against it, and you really want to show your stuff. I kind of just was like, I'm not playing my best handball here. What changed from intermediate to senior? And look, I played matches better. I still lost them at senior level. But he's some more calm or control now going into them. I go into every game now thinking that I should win it. But sometimes that's not the case. But you still go in there, believing you'd win it, and you give it your best performance. And I guess just don't go for stupid shots. And just kind of keep the nerves calm as well. And it's kind of easier saying that a handball because there's less of a crowd than a hurling match or football match as well. So that obviously the crowd brings a factor into it as well. So, it's easier handball.
I think the harsh reality is it just comes down to experience, really. You can't take a 16-year-old and tell him to feel like, do this, do that, do this. He's still it's going to go in one ear and out the other. I think you have to learn. You can take advice, but I think you have to learn from experience, like, you know what I mean?
You even see the professional athletes like Peter O'Malley there at the Irish game against the Welsh. He got sent off, you know.
Yeah.
Just stupid mistake. Like, it happens at top level performances, like football, soccer matches the whole time. You know, it's always the derby games, like people get red carded and stuff like that. Emotions are high, you're going in for stupid tackles. Where if it was a normal game, you wouldn't, like. So it is a common thing that happens, like. So
yeah.
But then after the game, you're like, you know, you're like, why did I play my best? And then you're like down the dumps, and just a long journey home. Then after that, like, it's, you know, hands into the hands. You're like thinking to yourself, like, oh, what's the point? And sometimes you go to a dark place, like, and it's kind of hard to crawl out of, like. I mean,
definitely, I know that place all too well. I remember go on. No, I remember my first, like, coming onto a Cantor hurling panel what year was it? I was 17 anyway, I suppose it's fucking nearly 10 years ago now. Jeez, I'm pushing on. But we were playing Dromina, first round of the championship, was intermediate, and I was playing quarter forward, and I had a good league campaign, scored a couple of points. But Dromina, that time, you know, I was on a young fella, and we were told Dromina, fierce dirty.
Yeah.
And I went in, marked in the corner back, and he was a man, like, I was only a boy, and he was a man.
Yeah.
Like, he was 38 years of age. I'd say he had to be. But the first ball, he came in, he smacked me into the back, you know, dirty belt into the back. And there and then I realised, oh my God, take me off. I have no business here. But then
that was probably his intention as well. Like, he saw a young boy playing here now, he's gonna scare the shit out of you.
But exactly. It was huge. Like, exactly. I was taken off at half time, and rightly so, because I went home and I realised that this fella was afraid. He was technically afraid of me, because he couldn't move. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if I just, you know, that's what I'm on about. Experience is everything. So I went up the next day in saying, "Sure, I'm well able to play this." So if I see it, you know, but that's why I think that's my mindset. That's why I'm fascinated with mindset and, like, learning from other people's experiences. Like, that was a huge thing for me.
Mindset is a big thing, especially, you know, I think the best thing is getting a routine and just sticking to that, and trying to be like, obviously sometimes going into a game being wiped up, it obviously is beneficial for some people. Some people, like, when they're training and when they're competing, it's totally different. You know, it's game day, they love the big moments, stuff like that. They get revved up where they're friendly and stuff. You see them, like, they score 1 point or 1 point, and then it's championship, they're scoring 5 or 6 points, and they love the occasion like that. Or some people, they just love being laid back. It's what works for you. Like, not everyone's the same. I think that's kind of missed, especially, I don't know, I played football maybe for 2 years with Mallow, and I guess the attitude is like aggression in the whole GA thing, like, oh, be aggressive, like, where some people that's not beneficial for, but for other people it is.
One thing I wanted to ask you is, take this scenario, and I know a lot of people will be able to relate to it, like, is what I'd say, how do you keep the demons away? And what I mean by that is, first ball or your first workout, you see the workout in front of you, you know it's going to be hard, right? 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But you go into the workout and you realise 4 minutes in, oh, I'm in trouble here. Like, or go into a match, first ball you mistouch it, or your first shot it goes wide. And all of a sudden these negative thoughts start piling in. Like, I found that very hard to keep those away. But sometimes, like, have you any advice for people listening? How would you keep them away?
I guess it happens to everyone. I for example of as you said, you see a hard workout. Even my program myself, I see a hard workout, and I'm literally looking at a piece of paper for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm like, will I even start this workout? Like, because I don't know would it go well, and especially in the bad days, it doesn't go well, you know. But as you said, if you're 4 minutes in, what I would say is lower the intensity for the workout. It's a lot easier. Lower intensity. Focus on one thing you want to work out. It could be toast bar, something like that, and don't expect a big round. Just work on one thing, and that workout isn't like this is what I'm going to work on and nothing else. With a match, you can change it around. Especially with hurling football, like, you're not getting the ball the whole time. So, like, next time, make sure you do everything right. Just focus on that thing. When you do a handball, just work like you're taught, like, next shot. Don't worry about shot in the pass. I know it's an easy thing to say, but
Yeah,
So that's what all the psychologists were saying. Like, but with workouts, I mean, I'm as bad as anyone. I look at a workout for 20 minutes and I'll just be like, oh my God, I don't think I'm able for this today. Like, and I'll do it. Sometimes I do well in it, and sometimes I'll do terrible in it. Like last week, I did a workout kind of similar to you. I did toes to bar, TAC sit-ups, thrusters, and snatches, and it went well. Like, went well the workout, but then I couldn't really train for next week. My core was in bits, so like obviously the volume was too high, and I learned from that workout that I need to lower the intensity because my whole week training was messed up from one session. And that can happen as well, like, you know.
Yeah, you need to have the ability to like just think on the fly, like, don't you? Just adjust your focus, adjust your mindset.
You need to adjust. As in, like, some days you might feel fantastic, right? Like, you get the snatch. Some days it's not with it, right? So you just need to change your approach to it, like the workout. Right, I'm just gonna work with this thing. It doesn't matter if you get 4 rounds or 5 rounds. Your target was 8 rounds. I'm just gonna slow down the intensity, work on this one thing. Same with a snatch, like, right, I'm just gonna make sure I'm gonna lower the weight by 10 kg. I'm gonna make sure I get every rep, work on my technique, work what's not working well at the higher reps. And it's kind of easier for CrossFit than it is for matches, because if you do 6 or 7 bad mistakes, it's kind of...
Well, you'll be whipped off anyway, so... Yeah, you know? You'll be whipped anyway, so you won't get the opportunity to make the year.
You get whipped off the pitch anyway,
yeah.
So it is tougher, especially in matches, especially when you have a few bad mistakes. But in CrossFit, it's just yourself, like, so you know you need to slow down and stuff like that, so it's not too bad.
Well, in relation to a match, like what I would say is just try and simplify your game. You know what I mean? The problem exactly, 9 times out of 10 these happens because you're 3 steps ahead before the ball is even in your hand. So do you know what I mean? You expect the ball is going over the bar and you don't even have it in your hand. So I just simplify it. Try and get the ball into your hand, or just try and get a hook the next time. Try and get a block the next time. You know, simplify it, and things usually work out. Start to go your way.
You get the foundation. Like, that's the biggest thing I think with sports. You get the foundation right before you do anything. As in, make sure you're moving well in CrossFit. As you said, in hurling or football, like, do the basics right, the hand pass, the short passes, you know, before you go back to the long passes and stuff like that. You know, or just win the ball, simple thing like that. But in CrossFit, it's just like, you know, do everything right. Make sure you can do strict pull-ups before you kick pull-ups. Make sure you can squat below parallel before you're putting thrusters and stuff like that. Make sure you have a good front rack position before you're doing like heavy squat cleans, you know? It's just build the foundation up and then, you know, layer the intensity on as well. And it's just like, I think that's what a lot of people need to do. They need to, like, you know, bring themselves back, work on the basics, and then build themselves back up and see what kind of, you know, what they get to, what kind of level they get to, and then build it back down and build it back up again, you know? Okay. It's the same with every sport, you know. Handball would be the best thing for me. Like, you know, it could be like, oh, your fly kills, you know, hitting the ball before it bounces. Like, I wouldn't be the best at that. So that's what I kind of work on when I'm training by myself, is fly kills, you know, where other shots would be more comfortable at. So then in a training game, if I miss 10 of them, I'm okay because I know I'm working at it. But then in a competition, you need to be making sure that's down to 2 or 3, like, you know. Unforced errors, like, they're just getting lower and lower and lower, like, you know. And that's kind of the main goal in sports like that. Yeah, CrossFit isn't really chess. It's kind of, you focus on yourself. For hurling and football, it's kind of a chess game as well. You have to anticipate everyone else, you know, so it's kind of harder.
I get you. One thing I wanted to talk to you about, and unfortunately it's something you have good experience in, is injury. And last year, or was it the year before, you were fit with your back? So I just wanted, will you explain what happened to you, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions about it.
Do. So I guess all my friends said we did surgery. It was my 3rd surgery. I've had 2 hip surgeries, and last year I said, look, I'll play a new sport. I'll play football. Haven't played since about under 12s or something. So I was playing junior football for Mallow. I think we were playing Carroll. Guy was marking, handball player. Just went for a ball. I got the ball in my hand. Some guy came from behind me, literally dropped the shoulder into underneath my armpit. So just underneath my armpit, and I went sideways, hit the floor, concussed, got up straight away, asked the ref how much at half time. Like 2 minutes was like grand, like the last 2 minutes. So I played on 2 minutes, full game goes by grand, came home, I was pain down my left leg, like aggravating pain. Like, this was April, I think, 2018. I'm going to say 2018. And I it was like 6 months. I was like, all right, it's just a tendon or it's a ligament strain or something like that. I went to physios and they were like, oh, it's just a gluteus maximus strain or something like that. And then I went to the doctor in Crossfit at the time, Michael Kennedy from Budapest. He brought me for an MRI, and I actually remember the day. So I was like, oh, doctor, he's like, Michael, it's not too bad, is it? And he was like, no, come into the room there. And I went to the room with him, just me and him.
Yeah.
And like, I was training on this. Like I did a few CrossFit competitions. I was trying to play handball as much as I can. I was over playing the World Championships, and I did the European Championships for CrossFit. Did a CrossFit competition, and it's all with this like. And he was like, "If you keep training, you lose the ability to control your bladder." I think it was like 3 centimeters off. This was 3 centimeters off my bladder nerve or something like that. So if it hits your bladder nerve, you lose the control of your bladder for life. So he was like, "You need surgery." So I went to the class. So I think I cried for like 2 minutes. I wiped off my tears. I went on, I coached, went home, had a long conversation with myself. Like, what am I going to do? Like, where am I going to go from this? And then I could come up with a plan, I guess. That was really the back surgery. Yeah.
How long was the recovery, start to finish? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, so I guess, but then again, I was like, I was getting messages like from CrossFitters saying like, oh, look, good career and stuff like this. So I guess, you're done and all this, you're back, there's no coming back. And I took it like, I was like, no, I didn't say it to them, like, but I was like, well, fuck you, like, you can edit it out, like, but I'll get back to full health. Like, I believe I can get back to full health. So I went to see Michael O'Sullivan, my, what would you call him? Back specialist. So he was there, went to him, he's like, look, I'll do an operation on you in 3 months. And I was like, can you do it like next week? And
yeah.
He was like, I'll do it next month. And I was like, grand, perfect. Sat down, had a back surgery, and then I wasn't sure did it work till about, I kind of stayed in bed for 12 weeks. And Grand Theft Auto, so not much. I couldn't sit down for 12 weeks. So I was lying in bed, moved the bedroom into the front room, and then I kind of started building up slowly. And then I guess, long story short, I'd say maybe 12 months after back surgery, I back squatted 190 for 2 reps. So it was a success really anyway, in the long run. Perfect. It was a long road.
What I want to ask you about is what's going on in the brain when all these things happen, because it's a dark place being injured. Like I briefly know it from one aspect, but like when you first come in and you can't move and you can't sit down, like what are you thinking? There's fear there, like, isn't there? But how did you stay positive, like?
The worst thing with injury is, say it's your ankle or your shoulder or something like that, right? All you think about is like all the movements you can't do with that, right? So it's like, I can't push press, I can't do this. You can do other stuff as well, obviously, but it's just, when you get injured, it's the end of the world. It's in your head, like, why me? And then it's obviously the bigger picture. It's like it's the thing, like, but when it happens to you, it is a dark place. It's a dark, and it kind of gets depressing. It's just like will I even come back from this? What's the point of coming back from this? The early days, like, all the effort I got to get where I am, all the effort is going to be to get back where I am now. Like, all these messages coming in saying like, "Oh, you're done." In a nice way. They didn't say it like that, like, but it was practically like, "Oh yeah," and you hear some people talking about you then up the country and kind of saying, well, he's finished now, and that's you hear it, like, and it's not a nice thing to hear when you're injured.
No, absolutely not. But looking at that was probably a blessing in disguise for you, was it? Having some internal motivation, like.
It is motivation as well. Like negativity, if you use it in the right way, it's a very powerful thing. It's like, when someone says you can't do this, like, you try and prove them wrong. So like negative comments are positive as well. Like it's like fuck, it's like screw you, like, basically, when you get back to full health.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but one thing
as you said though, it's a dark place. Like, I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Yeah, because I briefly spoke about my journeys that when I hurt my shoulder. At least I was able to go running and stuff. But why I was interested to ask you about your one was you were completely immobilized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like literally, it was. Doctor said I wasn't. I was sit down for 12 weeks. He said like 3 walks a day. He actually said 6 weeks. So I was like, you're in your head, all right? You're like, all right, 6 weeks. 1 week will pass. Take it day by day. Take it day by day. And I got really good at that. But then I went up to him and he's like, look, Tadgh, it's getting better. It's getting a lot better. But you still have another 6 weeks. You're doubled like your rehab time for going back to the gym doing anything. And I was like, I can't. I don't want to be able to another 6 weeks. And then another week passes. And it's just like, you're just, and in fairness to Teresa, my wife, she was very good because I obviously wasn't that pleasant to be around, for the start of it. And especially when you hear bad news like that. But, she was very helpful. I without her, I probably wouldn't have made a full recovery,
Yeah, they rushed it, in fairness.
Yeah, like in fairness, like someone being injured and stuff. And, even to get back to sports, you have to think, like, is it worth training to get injured again? And you have to make that commitment. Will you go back or will you won't go back? Is it worth it? Like, because you could easily hurt your back again. Not easily, but there's a possibility you could hurt your back again doing the sport. Like, so you have to be man enough to take the risk to realise that it could happen again and it's 100% your fault if it happens again.
Yeah, that's the problem with trying to be elite or trying to be, advanced in your sport. Like, injury is just around the corner. You have less chance to get injured if you're only taking your weight 3 times a week, just for general health, you know what I mean? When you're trying to push the limits every day, it's all, like you're only seconds away from actually something fatal happening, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So, like, especially when you're training such high intensity and you're trying to be, like, the best in your sport and stuff like that, you're gonna train yourself, probably not recover as great as you should be doing. Especially, I guess, in this country.
But that's why GA players and all that, like, people are giving the old generation give you out signature, they're not fit at all. That's why they're getting injured. But exactly, that's why they're actually too fit. That's why they're getting injured. You know what I mean?
I always think that, I don't know, as in the older generation, kind of play down the newer generation, but I always think like the newer generation will always be better than the old generation. Because, like, science and sports is just so advanced now. Like, just like some GA players, like, if there probably wasn't GA in this country, I'd say there'd be a lot more Olympic gold medals because from a young age, all the best athletes go into GA. You know?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
All the best players in that community play GA. And so, like, it's I think the older generation, I mean, you hear stories like this, like, in Dublin and stuff, like, but, like, some football players are just ridiculously athletic.
Phenomenal athletes, like, yeah.
Yeah, they're athletes. Some players are athletes. There's like 3 or 4 from Mallow who are just they can do anything, like, and they can do any sport and they'd be unreal at it. You always have them 1 or 2 freaks of natures in any club. You probably see it in Kentucky as well.
Definitely, yeah.
I went to that hurling match. It was the only Kentucky match I say was Mallow and Kentucky.
In the quarterfinal, yeah. We just picked it at the
2 points.
Yeah.
That was a good match in Paris. It was. So I guess, we're like, just main thing with is don't get injured. You be living the dream.
Okay, no. Tell me, how is married life treating you?
Well, I guess married life is the same now with lockdown. Not much happening. Great home day every day. Just basically write programs. Might go back to college, I'd say, because I'm getting sick of doing nothing at home. So we'll see.
What do you think you go at? Can I ask?
Physiotherapy in UCC.
2 years. Yeah. Tough, boy.
2 years. I'd say it would be tough, right? But I coached the Irish handball team, and the physio is from Donrell. Really good friends with him, and he just did his PhD in UL. So I'm kind of getting a voice off him now, and he's been very helpful. And he actually left physiotherapy, I'd say, about 2 months ago to work in cancer research. So total career change, but he said go for it anyway. So I'll probably go. I applied for it anyway. I'm just waiting for the application to be accepted. Hopefully.
Best of luck with it, but in fairness.
Thanks very much.
I always like to end on something inspirational, bud. So what I'm going to give you is, I gave Lock On now the same scenario last week, right? You have a 15-year-old who's coming to you, his big goals. We'll say he's a CrossFit athlete. He said, look, I've shown I've talent here. I want to hit the big time. What would your advice be to him?
He wants to hit the big time at 15 years old.
Or whatever age, 13, I don't mind. You choose
we'll say 15. Because 15 would be perfect age to start for any CrossFit. Honestly, what I say, if he wants to hit big time, it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of dedication, doing the simple things right, sleep, nutrition, no excuses really. Like, I know you can have the excuses the odd time, but like, you know, if you're giving someone to do something, they do it. Give feedback, obviously, to the coach constantly for CrossFit. Video yourself the whole time, because you can always look at yourself, because you can always think you're doing something totally different without videos, and enjoy it as much as you can, basically. But it's going to be hard.
Yeah, you have to love it, though, don't you? That's the number one, isn't it? Yeah, like Don said to say, you have to love it. It won't work otherwise.
It won't work, because you can always fake it. Like, there are people like, let's say, Andrew Agassi, who hated tennis, but he only played it because he was good at it. But they're the outliers. They're the 1 in a million, like, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
You gotta love it.
Because motivation only has. Yeah, sorry, go on.
You gotta love putting in the hard work as well. You can't expect it easy as well. You know, some people just expect it easy. Yeah.
Lad, you're after leading me into that. If only it was easy, huh?
If only it was like, but I think some people who are so genetically good, who could easily make it,
but they haven't got
they don't put the effort, because they have it. Like, they have, you know, they can beat the other person, but you know, hard work beats talent. You know, eventually, like, maybe not to start, but eventually it does.
Perfect, right? We'll leave it there. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks. So you know your stuff. No, in fairness, like, and I know people listening now and will be able to take a lot from you. Like, you're fairly educated.
Hopefully more educated.
Yeah. Go on.
Perfect. Good man. Like, really appreciate it. Thanks for the phone call.